At JFK Airport, a dog's bark uncovered a chilling crime. Shadow sensed danger, and one child's life hung in the balance. This is the story of courage, sacrifice, and a fight for justice. It's 5 a.m. at John F. Kennedy International Airport in New York City, where the pulse of the world beats loudest. The terminal is a symphony of chaos. Wheels of suitcases clatter, boarding calls echo through the PA system, and the hum of TSA scanners blends with the chatter of travelers. The air smells of burnt coffee, sanitizer, and the faint tang of jet fuel. Outside, a gray dawn struggles to break through the clouds, casting a dim glow over the tarmac. Inside, Mike Sullivan stands at checkpoint 7, his eyes scanning the crowd like a hawk. A former Marine turned TSA officer, Mike is 38, with the weathered look of someone who's seen too much but still believes in doing right. His Irish roots show in his reddish-brown hair and the stubborn set of his jaw, but it's his eyes, sharp, unyielding, that tell you he misses nothing. Beside him sits Shadow, a German shepherd with a coat as black as midnight and eyes that seem to see through people. Shadow isn't just a dog. He's Mike's partner, trained to sniff out explosives, drugs, and trouble. For 3 years, they've worked this beat together, a duo so in sync that Mike swears Shadow can read his thoughts. Today, though, something's off. Shadow's ears are up, his nose twitching, his body tense like a coiled spring. Mike feels it too, a prickling at the back of his neck, the kind he used to get in Iraq before an ambush. The line at the checkpoint moves steadily. Business travelers tap their feet, families wrangle kids, and tourists fumble with boarding passes. Mike's radio crackles with routine chatter, but his focus is on a couple approaching the X-ray machine. The man is tall, mid-40s, in a crisp suit, his face all angles and cold confidence. The woman, younger, with tired eyes and a forced smile, cradles a baby wrapped in a blue blanket. They look like any other family rushing for a flight until Shadow lets out a bark. It's not his usual alert, crisp and professional. This is a deep, guttural roar followed by a frenzy of barks that stops the terminal dead. Passengers freeze. A child drops a toy. Phones come out recording. Shadow lunges toward the couple, stopping inches from the baby, his teeth bared, hackles raised. The man steps forward, his voice low and sharp. "Control your dog. You're scaring my kid." The woman clutches the baby tighter, her smile gone. Mike's hand hovers near his radio, his pulse quickening. Shadow never barks without reason. He's caught bombs, drugs, even smuggled cash, but this is different. "Sir, ma'am, step to the side, please," Mike says, his voice calm but firm. He locks eyes with the man whose stare is like ice. "Routine check. Won't take long." The couple hesitates, then complies, moving to a screened-off area. Mike signals his partner, Officer Aisha Jones, a quick-witted black woman who's been with him since basic training. "Aisha, get a medic. Something's not right." He glances at the baby, pale, eyes closed, unmoving. Too still. A chill runs through him. Kids cry, squirm, react. This one doesn't. The medic arrives, a young guy named Carlos with a steady hand. He checks the baby's pulse, his face tightening. "She's not asleep," he whispers to Mike. "She's sedated. Heavy dose, maybe a benzo. We need to get her to a hospital." Mike's stomach twists. Sedated? For a flight? He looks at Shadow, who's still fixated on the blanket, growling low. Mike lifts it, catching a faint chemical smell, not baby powder, but something sharp, clinical. He bags it for forensics, his mind racing. "Sir, ma'am, I need your IDs and boarding passes," Mike says, keeping his tone neutral. The man, who introduces himself as Richard Blake, hands over 2 passports. His wife, Laura, stays silent, her eyes darting to the floor. The passports are pristine. Richard and Laura Blake, U.S. citizens traveling to London. But when Mike scans them, a red flag pings on his terminal. The numbers match passports used in Chicago 2 weeks ago, flagged by Interpol for suspected trafficking. Fake. Mike's heart pounds. He signals Aisha to call for backup, then turns to the couple. There's an issue with your documents. We'll need to verify them. Richard's face hardens. This is harassment. Our daughter's sick. She needs to get to a specialist. Laura nods, but her hands tremble. Mike doesn't buy it. Sick kids don't get sedated to this level. He leans closer to the baby, noticing her lips blue at the edges. What's her name? He asks. Emma, Laura says quickly, too quickly. Mike nods, but his gut screams. And her birth certificate? We'll need it for the hospital. Richard's eyes flicker, just for a second. It's in our checked luggage, he says. Mike knows it's a lie. No parent forgets their kid's papers. He steps back, speaking into his radio. Code red, checkpoint 7, suspected trafficking, lock it down. Within minutes, FBI agents swarm the terminal. Special Agent Elena Martinez, a Latina with a reputation for busting trafficking rings, takes charge. Good catch, Sullivan, she says, eyeing Shadow. Your dog's got a nose for trouble. The couple is cuffed and led to a holding room, their protests drowned out by the clatter of the terminal resuming. The baby, still unidentified, is rushed to Bellevue Hospital. Tests confirm she's been given midazolam, a surgical sedative, enough to keep her still but conscious, unable to cry. Mike feels a wave of nausea. This isn't just trafficking. It's clinical, precise, like a procedure. That night, Mike sits in his Brooklyn apartment, the city's hum filtering through the window. Shadow lies at his feet, whimpering softly, sensing his unease. Mike's mind won't quit. The baby's face reminds him of someone, his brother, Tommy, who vanished 10 years ago at 15. Tommy was a foster kid, bounced from home to home, until one day he was gone. No trace, no leads. The police called it a runaway case, but Mike never believed it. He joined the Marines, then TSA, hoping to find answers. Tonight, those answers feel closer and more dangerous than ever. At 2 a.m., his phone buzzes. A blocked number. Sullivan, a distorted voice says. You stopped a package today. Keep digging, but watch your back. Check Next Gen Pharma, Manhattan. The line cuts off. Nexagen Pharma. Mike knows the name, a biotech titan. All glossy ads about curing cancer and saving kids. Could they be involved? He pulls his laptop, diving into dark web forums. Whispers of NextGen's name surface. Kids vanishing near their clinics. Organs sold to elite buyers overseas. It's thin, but it's a start. The next morning, Mike meets Martinez at FBI headquarters. She's skeptical but pulls NextGen's financials. They're clean on paper, she says, but there's a shell company, Orion Holdings, funneling millions to accounts in Seoul and Dubai. Mike shares the chemical trace from the blanket, matched to a sedative NextGen produces for organ transplants. Martinez's eyes narrow. If this is what I think it is, we're talking black market organs, kids as donors. Mike insists on joining the investigation, bringing Shadow. They track a shipment from JFK to a warehouse in Newark, labeled Next Gen Medical Supplies. At midnight, under a moonless sky, they move in. The warehouse is a fortress, steel doors, no windows. Shadow sniffs the perimeter, growling at a refrigerated truck. Inside, they find it. A container packed with dry ice holding vials of blood, tissue, and a sealed canister marked Pediatric Kidney, Group O, Live Harvest. Mike's blood runs cold. Live Harvest. The baby at JFK wasn't just being smuggled, she was a donor, kept alive for her organs. Shadow snarls, his nose locked on the canister. Suddenly, a shadow moves in the dark. Gunfire erupts. 4 men in tactical gear storm the warehouse, aiming to destroy evidence. Mike dives behind a crate, returning fire. Shadow bolts forward, tackling one gunman, his jaws clamping the man's wrist. The fight is chaos, bullets ricochet, crates splinter. Martinez takes down one shooter, Mike wounds another. Shadow takes a graze to the shoulder but holds his ground, blood dripping. They subdue the attackers, but the canister is damaged, its seal cracked. Mike opens it, finding a tiny kidney, perfectly preserved. His hands shake. This was a child. Martinez calls for backup. her voice tight. "We've got a war on our hands, Sullivan." Mike looks at Shadow, bandaged but fierce, and knows this is just the beginning. Part 2. Into the Abyss. The warehouse in Newark smells of oil, rust, and something far worse, death. The refrigerated truck sits silent, its contents now in FBI custody, but the image of that tiny kidney, sealed in a canister marked Live Harvest, burns in Mike Sullivan's mind. He kneels beside Shadow, his German Shepherd partner, pressing a bandage to the graze on the dog's shoulder. Shadow whimpers but holds steady, his eyes locked on Mike, as if saying, "We're not done." The FBI team swarms the scene, their flashlights cutting through the dark, but Mike feels alone in this moment. The air is heavy with the weight of what they've uncovered, a child's organ, harvested while their hearts still beat. And somewhere out there, more kids are waiting to become packages. Special Agent Elena Martinez approaches, her face grim. "We've got 3 of the shooters in cuffs. The 4th didn't make it." She glances at the blood on Mike's sleeve, where a bullet grazed him. "You okay, Sullivan?" Mike nods, but his mind is elsewhere. "That canister," he says, voice low. "It's not just trafficking. It's a system. NextGen's not some small-time player." Martinez sighs, running a hand through her hair. "I know, but we've got a problem. The shell company Orion Holdings just vanished from the financials. Someone's wiping their tracks fast." Mike's jaw tightens. He thinks of the anonymous call, the voice warning him about NextGen Pharma. Someone out there knows the truth, and they're scared. He stands, wincing as his shoulder protests. "What's next?" Martinez hesitates, her eyes searching his. "We're raiding NextGen's Manhattan headquarters tomorrow, but Sullivan, this is above your pay grade. TSA doesn't run point on this." Mike meets her gaze, unflinching. "Shadow and I found that kid's kidney. We're in this, whether you like it or not." Back at his Brooklyn apartment, Mike can't sleep. The city hums outside, but inside it's just him, Shadow, and the ghosts of the past. He pulls out an old photo from a shoebox under his bed hem, and Tommy, his little brother, grinning at Coney Island. Tommy was 15 when he vanished. A foster kid with no one but Mike to fight for him. The police gave up, but Mike never did. He joined the Marines, then TSA, chasing a shadow of hope. Now, with NextGen in his sights, that hope feels like a blade-sharp, dangerous, cutting deeper with every step. Shadow nudges Mike's hand, his nose warm against Mike's calloused fingers. The dog's shoulder is bandaged, but his spirit is unbroken. Mike scratches behind Shadow's ears, whispering, "You knew, didn't you? You smelled it on that baby." Shadow's eyes glint in the dim light, as if answering, "I always know." Mike opens his laptop, pulling up everything he can find on NextGen. The company's public faces flawless ads about curing rare diseases, smiling kids in hospital beds. But the dark web tells a different story. Rumors of harvest clinics, kids vanishing near NextGen facilities, and a figure known only as the broker, orchestrating it all. At 4 a.m., Mike's phone buzzes again. Another blocked number. He answers, heart pounding. "Sullivan!" The same distorted voice says. "You're getting close. NextGen's data vault, sub-level 3 Manhattan. Find the Orion files, but they're watching you. Trust no one." The line cuts off. Mike stares at the phone, his pulse racing. Sub-level 3, Orion files. He knows this is a trap or a lifeline. Either way, he's going in. Dawn breaks over Manhattan. The skyline, a jagged silhouette against a blood-red sky. NextGen Pharma's headquarters looms on Park Avenue, a glass and steel monolith that screams wealth and power. The FBI's tactical team gathers in a staging area 2 blocks away, their black SUVs blending into the early morning shadows. Mike and Shadow are there against Martinez's better judgment. Shadow's bandage is hidden under a custom canine vest, his eyes sharp, ready. Mike's own wound throbs, but he ignores it, his Glock holstered tight against his chest. Martinez briefs the team, her voice clipped. We've got a warrant for next-gen servers and executive offices. Intel suggests they're moving data off-site tonight. We need those servers intact. She glances at Mike. Sullivan, you and Shadow are on perimeter. Stay out of the crossfire. Mike nods, but he's already planning to break that order. Sub-Level 3 isn't on the FBI's radar, but it's on his. The raid begins at 6 a.m. The tactical team breaches the lobby, flashbangs echoing through the marble halls. Next-Gen's security private contractors, heavily armed, put up a fight, but the FBI's firepower overwhelms them. Mike and Shadow slip through a side entrance using a stolen key card from one of the warehouse shooters. The card grants access to a service elevator, its panel marked with a single unmarked button, SL3. Mike's gut churns as the elevator descends, the hum of machinery filling the silence. Shadow growls softly, sensing what Mike feels. This is the heart of the beast. Sub-Level 3 is a maze of concrete corridors lit by harsh fluorescent lights. The air is cold, sterile, like a morgue. Mike moves cautiously, Shadow at his side, the dog's nose working overtime. They find a reinforced door labeled Data Vault. Mike swipes the key card, praying it works. The lock clicks green. Inside, rows of servers hum, their lights blinking like a digital pulse. But it's what's beyond the servers that stops Mike cold. A glass-walled room, sealed tight, holds 3 surgical tables. Each table has a child sedated, strapped down, hooked to IVs. Monitors display vital signs, their beeps a haunting rhythm. One child, a boy no older than 10, has a fresh scar across his abdomen. Mike's breath catches. He's seen war, seen death, but this is evil in its purest form. Shadow snarls, his body rigid, ready to charge. Mike grabs his collar, whispering, "Easy, boy, we'll get them out." He turns to the servers, plugging in a flash drive provided by Martinez's tech team. The drive starts downloading, but a file catches his eye. Orion Protocol. Mike opens it, his heart sinking. It's a ledger, names, ages, blood types, organ types. Hundreds of kids listed like inventory. One entry jumps out. Thomas Sullivan, 15, Group A, liver harvested 2015. Tommy. Mike's vision blurs, his knees buckling. His brother didn't run away. He was taken, cut open, sold. The grief hits like a tidal wave, but there's no time to drown. An alarm blares. Red lights flash. Mike yanks the drive as footsteps echo down the corridor. Shadow barks, loud and fierce, warning him. 4 guards burst in, armed with submachine guns. "Drop the weapon," one shouts. Mike dives behind a server rack, firing 2 shots. One guard falls, the others scatter. Shadow leaps, taking down a second guard, his jaws locking on the man's arm. Mike rolls out, firing again, but a bullet grazes his thigh, hot pain searing through him. He grits his teeth, dragging himself to cover. The fight is brutal, the confined space amplifying every sound: gunshots, Shadow's growls, the guard's screams. Mike takes out the 3rd guard with a headshot, but the 4th lands a kick to Shadow's side, sending the dog sprawling. Rage surges through Mike. He tackles the guard, slamming his fist into the man's face until he goes limp. Panting, Mike crawls to Shadow, who's back on his feet, blood dripping from his muzzle. "Good boy," Mike gasps, checking the dog's wounds. They're both battered but alive. The download finishes. Mike grabs the drive, then moves to the glass room. He cuts the straps on the kids, checking their pulses. They're alive, but barely. He radios Martinez. "Sub-Level 3, 3 kids critical. Send medics now." Her voice crackles back, tense. "Sullivan, what the hell are you doing down there? We're taking fire up top." Mike doesn't answer. He slings the smallest child, a girl, over his shoulder, guiding the others to the elevator. Shadow limps beside him, refusing to leave his side. Back on the surface, the raid is a war zone. Next-gen security has reinforcements, mercenaries, not rent-a-cops. The FBI holds the lobby, but bodies litter the floor. Martinez spots Mike, her eyes widening at the kids. "Jesus, Sullivan, you found them!" Medics rush in, taking the children. Mike hands her the flash drive. Orion Protocol. It's everything: names, dates, buyers, and my brother. He was one of them. Martinez's face softens, but before she can respond, a new voice cuts through the chaos. Agent Martinez, stand down. It's Supervisory Agent Paul Whitaker, her boss, striding in with a team of suits. His silver hair and cold eyes scream authority. This operation is now under my command. Secure the servers and detain Officer Sullivan. Mike freezes. Detain me? For what? Whitaker's smile is thin. Unauthorized access endangering the mission. You're a liability, son. Martinez steps forward, furious. He found those kids. He got the data. Whitaker's gaze doesn't waver. That's not your call, Agent. Mike's mind races. The anonymous calls, the wiped financials, now this. Whitaker's dirty. He's protecting Next Gen. Mike locks eyes with Martinez, a silent plea. She hesitates, then nods slightly. I'll handle this, she whispers. Get out of here! Mike doesn't wait. He whistles for Shadow, and they slip through a side exit, disappearing into the Manhattan dawn. His thigh burns, his shoulder aches, but the flash drive in his pocket feels like a grenade. Tommy's name, those kids' faces, they're why he keeps going. He ducks into an alley, checking his phone. A new message from the blocked number. Whitaker's bought. Meet me, Red Hook, midnight. Bring the drive. Red Hook, Brooklyn, is a ghost town at midnight. The waterfront smells of salt and decay. The warehouses casting long shadows under flickering streetlights. Mike arrives in a beat-up sedan. Shadow in the passenger seat, his K9 vest swapped for a plain harness. Mike's Glock is loaded, his senses on high alert. The meet feels like a trap, but he's out of options. The FBI's hunting him, Whitaker's covering for Next Gen, and the Orion files are his only leverage. A figure steps out from behind a rusted container. A woman, mid-30s, with cropped hair and haunted eyes. She's dressed like a dock worker, but her posture screams ex-cop. Sullivan, she says, voice low. I'm Claire, I called you. Mike keeps his hand near his gun. Prove it. She tosses him a USB drive. That's a copy of Next Gen's donor list. I was their data analyst, until I saw the kids. Her voice cracks. I got out, but they're still watching me. Mike plugs the USB into a burner phone. The list matches the Orion file's hundreds of names, including Tommy's. But there's more. A map pinpointing harvest sites across the U.S., from rural clinics to urban hospitals. One site stands out, a facility in upstate New York near the Adirondacks. Claire leans in. That's their hub. The broker runs it. He's the one Whitaker's protecting. Who's the broker? Mike asks, his voice tight. Claire's eyes darken. No one knows his face, but he's got a tattoo, a black circle on his wrist, and he's untouchable. Shadow growls, his ears flattening. Mike's mind flashes to the warehouse, the photo in Klein's office. The man with the tattoo. Why help me, he asks. Claire looks away, her voice barely audible. Because I saw what they did to your brother. I couldn't save him, but I can help you stop them. Before Mike can respond, headlights flood the alley. 3 black SUVs screech to a halt, men in tactical gear spilling out. Sullivan, drop the drive, a voice barks. It's Whitaker, his silver hair glinting under the streetlights. Claire dives behind a dumpster, but Mike and Shadow are exposed. Run, Claire hisses. Mike sprints, Shadow at his heels, as bullets tear through the night. They weave through the warehouses, the SUVs in pursuit. Shadow's limp slows him, but his heart keeps him moving. Mike spots a narrow gap between containers and dives through, pulling Shadow with him. The SUVs can't follow. He hears Whitaker's voice, cold and commanding. Find him. He's got the drive. Mike's breath comes in ragged gasps, his thigh wound bleeding through the bandage. Shadow nudges him, urging him to move. They slip onto a docked freighter hiding in the cargo hold. In the dark, Mike checks the USB. One file is encrypted, labeled Broker ID. He doesn't have the key, but he knows it's the endgame. Huddled in the freighter's hold, Mike's mind drifts to Tommy. The kid was a dreamer, always sketching comic book heroes, talking about being a pilot someday. Mike was 20 when Tommy vanished, fresh out of high school, working 2 jobs to keep them afloat. He blamed himself for not being there, for not fighting harder when the system failed them. Now, holding the Orion files, he feels Tommy's ghost beside him, urging him on. Shadow's ears perk up, sensing something. Mike peers through a crack in the hold. Flashlights sweep the deck Whitaker's men. He whispers to Shadow, "Stay low, boy." They creep to the opposite end, slipping off the freighter and into the shadows of Red Hook. Mike's phone buzzes a text from Martinez. "Whitaker's locked me out. You're on your own. Head north. I'll find you." Mike deletes the message, his trust in the system shattered. But Martinez? She's one of the good ones, he hopes. By dawn, Mike and Shadow are on a Greyhound bus to upstate New York, the Adirondacks looming in the distance. The facility Claire mentioned is near Lake Placid, a remote compound disguised as a research lab. Mike's plan is simple: infiltrate, find the kids, expose the broker. But his wounds are slowing him, and Shadow's limp is worse. They're running on fumes, driven by something stronger than pain justice. The bus drops them in a small town, where Mike buys a burner phone and a map. He calls Claire, who's gone dark, her number disconnected. Alone again, he studies the Orion files, memorizing names, dates, locations. One name stands out: Kayla M., 8, Group O, Scheduled Harvest, Adirondack Facility. Mike's heart aches. Kayla could be any of those kids in the glass room waiting for a knife. He looks at Shadow, whose eyes burn with the same fire. "We're gonna get her, boy. All of them." The Adirondack Facility is a fortress, nestled in a valley surrounded by pine forests. Its sleek exterior screams high-tech, but the barbed wire and armed patrols tell another story. Mike watches from a ridge, using binoculars stolen from a hunting store. Shadow lies beside him, his nose twitching, catching scents on the wind. The compound has one main entrance, guarded by 2 men with rifles. A helipad sits at the back, a chopper prepped for takeoff. Mike's gut tells him they're moving kids tonight. He waits until dusk, the forest cloaking him in shadow. Shadow's vest is off, his black coat blending with the dark. Mike carries a backpack with the flash drive, a knife, and extra ammo. His plan is reckless: sneak in, find the kids, and signal Martinez for backup. But first, he needs to disable the cameras. He spots a power junction near the fence, rigged with a backup generator. Shadow moves first, silent as a ghost, distracting the guards with a low growl from the trees. Mike sprints to the junction, planting a small explosive, a trick he learned in the Marines. The blast is small but effective, plunging the compound into darkness. Chaos erupts. Guards shout, radios crackle. Mike and Shadow slip through a gap in the fence, moving toward the main building. Inside, the corridors are sterile, white, like a hospital from a nightmare. Shadow's nose leads them to a locked door marked Specimen Wing. Mike swipes the stolen keycard, praying it still works. The door opens, revealing a sight that stops his heart. Dozens of kids, ages 5 to 15, lie on cots, sedated, hooked to monitors. Some have scars, fresh and red. Others are pale, their breathing shallow. At the far end, a girl sits upright, her eyes wide with fear. It's Kayla, the name from the files. She's clutching a crayon drawing a stick figure with a black circle on its wrist. The broker. Mike kneels beside her, whispering, "I'm Mike. I'm here to get you out." Kayla's voice trembles. "They're coming for me tonight. The man with the circle. He picks who goes." Before Mike can respond, Shadow snarls, his body tensing. Footsteps approach heavy, deliberate. Mike grabs Kayla, pulling her behind a cot. The door swings open, and a man steps in, his silhouette framed by the hallway's light. He's tall, in a tailored suit, a black circle tattooed on his wrist. The broker. His voice is smooth, almost gentle. "Kayla, it's time." Shadow lunges, but a tranquilizer dart hits him, dropping the dog mid-stride. Mike raises his gun, but the broker's faster, a silenced pistol aimed at Kayla's head. "Drop it, Sullivan," he says. Or she's next. Mike's heart pounds, but he lowers his gun. The broker smiles, his eyes cold as steel. You're persistent, like your brother. Mike's blood runs cold. What did you do to Tommy? The broker chuckles. He was perfect healthy, no family, no trace. Just like these kids. You can't stop this, Sullivan. It's bigger than you, bigger than me. He gestures to the cots. They're saving lives, elite lives. You think the world cares about street kids? Mike's rage boils, but he's out of moves. The broker steps closer, his gun steady. Give me the drive and I'll let you walk, for now. Mike's hand hovers over his pocket, but his eyes flick to Shadow, who's stirring, fighting the tranquilizer. He just needs time. Okay, Mike says, pulling out the drive. The broker reaches for it, and Shadow strikes, his jaws clamping onto the man's leg. The broker screams, his gun firing wild. Mike dives, tackling him to the ground, fists flying. The fight is brutal, raw. The broker's stronger than he looks, landing a punch that splits Mike's lip. But Mike's fueled by 10 years of grief, every blow for Tommy, for Kayla, for the kids in this room. He slams the broker's head against the floor, knocking him out. Panting, Mike checks Shadow, who's shaky but alive. Kayla clings to him, sobbing. We have to go, Mike says, scooping her up. He grabs the drive and the broker's phone, hoping it holds answers. They slip out as alarms blare, guards converging. Mike carries Kayla, Shadow limping beside him. They reach the forest, disappearing into the trees. Behind them, the chopper lifts off, carrying who knows what or who. Mike's phone buzzes Martinez. Sullivan, where are you? We're 10 minutes out. Mike gives her the coordinates, his voice hoarse. Hurry, we've got kids to save. As they wait, Mike looks at Kayla, her crayon drawing crumpled in her hand. The black circle haunts him. The broker's down, but he's not the end. Someone bigger is out there pulling strings, protecting this machine. And Tommy's name, etched in those files, is a wound that won't heal. Shadow nudges Mike's hand, his eyes fierce, unbroken. They're still in this fight together. Part 3, The Light Beyond the Dark. The Adirondack Forest is a labyrinth of shadows, the pines whispering secrets as Mike Sullivan crouches beneath their cover. Kayla clings to his side, her small hand trembling in his, her crayon drawing of the broker crumpled in her pocket. Shadow, battered but unyielding, lies beside them, his black coat blending with the night. The German shepherd's shoulder wound seeps through its bandage, but his eyes burn with the same fire that drives Mike. The distant wail of FBI sirens grows closer. Martinez is coming, but Mike knows they're not out of danger. The broker lies unconscious back at the compound, but his words echo in Mike's mind. It's bigger than you. Bigger than me. Someone else is pulling the strings, and the chopper that lifted off minutes ago carries their secrets. Mike checks the broker's phone, its screen cracked but still functional. The encrypted file, broker ID, taunts him, locked behind a passcode he can't crack. Kayla's voice, barely a whisper, breaks the silence. They're still there, Mike, the other kids. They're scared. Her eyes, wide and haunted, remind him of Tommy, his brother, whose name was just a line in Next Gen's ledger. Mike squeezes her hand. We're gonna get them, Kayla, I promise. Shadow nudges his leg as if sealing the vow. The sirens are louder now, but so is the thud of boots in the distance. Whitaker's men or worse are closing in. Mike's thigh wound throbs, his vision blurring from blood loss, but he forces himself to move. He lifts Kayla, her weight light but heavy with responsibility, and signals Shadow to follow. They slip deeper into the forest, the cold air biting their skin. The flash drive, tucked in Mike's pocket, holds the Orion files proof of Next Gen's atrocities, proof of Tommy's fate. But proof means nothing if they don't survive the night. The forest opens to a narrow dirt road where a black SUV sits, its headlights off. Mike freezes, his Glock drawn. Shadow growls, low and menacing, his ears flat. The driver's door opens, and a figure steps out, Agent Elena Martinez, her FBI badge glinting in the moonlight. "Sullivan, it's me," she calls, her voice urgent but steady. "Get in now!" Mike hesitates, his trust in the system shattered by Whitaker's betrayal. But Martinez's eyes, fierce and honest, convince him. He lowers his gun, helping Kayla into the SUV. Shadow leaps in, his nose sniffing Martinez warily. "Where's your team?" Mike asks, buckling Kayla in. Martinez floors the gas, the SUV lurching forward. "Whitaker's got half the field office locked down. He's claiming you're a rogue agent, tampering with evidence. I slipped out with 2 agents I trust." She glances at Kayla, softening. "You did good, kid." Kayla manages a small nod, clutching Mike's hand. The road twists through the mountains, the SUV's tires crunching gravel. Martinez hands Mike a tablet. "We cracked part of the Orion files. The Adirondack facility's just one node. There's another in Syracuse, and a third in Mexico. They're moving kids tonight. Private jet from an airstrip near Lake Placid." Mike's heart sinks. "The chopper. Who's running it?" he asks, his voice tight. Martinez's jaw clenches. "We don't know. The broker's a middleman. The real player's higher up, someone with enough pull to shield Next Gen from Congress." Mike pulls out the broker's phone, handing it to Martinez. "There's a file, broker ID. If we crack it, we'll know who." She nods, passing it to an agent in the back who starts working on it. Kayla tugs Mike's sleeve. "The man with the circle. He talked to someone on a video call. A woman. She had a fancy office like a boss." Mike's mind races. A woman high up connected to Next Gen. He opens the Orion files on Martinez's tablet, scanning for names. One stands out. Dr. Catherine Vaughn, Next Gen's chief medical officer. Her bio is pristine Harvard, Nobel Prize nominee, champion of pediatric medicine. Too perfect. Before Mike can dig deeper, the SUV's rear window shatters. Gunfire erupts, bullets pinging off the chassis. "Ambush!" Martinez shouts, swerving. 2 black vans roar up behind, their windows down, muzzles flashing. Mike pushes Kayla to the floor, drawing his Glock. Shadow barks, his body tense, ready to leap. Martinez floors it, but the vans are faster, boxing them in. "Hold on!" she yells, yanking the wheel. The SUV skids off the road, crashing through underbrush, branches snapping. Mike fires through the broken window, hitting a van's tire. It swerves, but the second van closes in. A mercenary leans out, aiming a rifle. Shadow leaps through the window, a blur of black fur tackling the shooter. The van veers, crashing into a tree. Mike's heart lurches. "Shadow!" he screams, but the dog's already back, limping, blood on his muzzle. Martinez regains control, speeding toward a clearing. The remaining van pursues, relentless. They reach an abandoned logging camp, the SUV's engine sputtering. Martinez slams the brakes. "Out now!" They pile out, taking cover behind rusted machinery. Kayla clings to Mike, her breaths shallow. Shadow stands guard, his growls a warning to the approaching mercenaries. Mike counts 6, armed with assault rifles, moving like trained soldiers. Whitaker's men or Next Gen's, it doesn't matter. They're here to kill. The fight is chaos. Mike and Martinez fire in tandem, dropping 2 mercenaries. Shadow darts through the shadows, tripping another, giving Mike a clear shot. But the odds are grim. A bullet grazes Martinez's arm, and Mike's thigh wound reopens, blood soaking his jeans. Kayla's sobs pierce the gunfire. "Stay down, Kayla!" Mike shouts, his voice hoarse. He's running low on ammo, his vision spotting. This can't be the end. Then, headlights flood the clearing. FBI SUVs screech in, agents pouring out, their vests marked FBI. The mercenaries scatter, but most are cut down or cuffed. Martinez slumps against a log, clutching her arm. Mike kneels beside Kayla, shielding her. Shadow collapses, panting, his wounds too many to count. An agent approaches. Agent Torres, one of Martinez's trusted few. "We've got the airstrip locked down," he says. "No jets leaving tonight." Mike's relief is fleeting. He looks at Shadow, whose eyes are dimming. "Hang in there, boy," he whispers, stroking the dog's fur. Kayla crawls to Shadow, tears streaming. "He saved me," she says, her voice breaking. Mike's throat tightens. Shadow's been his anchor, his partner, his family. He can't lose him, not after Tommy. The FBI secures the logging camp, medics tending to Martinez and Shadow. Mike refuses treatment, his focus on the airstrip. Torres drives them to a private runway carved into the Adirondack wilderness, where a sleek jet sits, its engines cold. FBI agents swarm the tarmac, pulling kids from the cargo hold, 12 in all, sedated, bound for Seoul or worse. Mike's heart aches as medics carry them to ambulances, their faces pale, lifeless. Kayla grips his hand, whispering, "That was supposed to be me." Inside the jet, Mike finds a laptop, its screen still on. A video call window shows a frozen image. A woman in a sleek office, her face partially visible. Dr. Catherine Vaughn. Mike's blood boils. She's the one Kayla saw, the one the broker answered to. He downloads the laptop's data, hoping for the key to broker ID. Martinez, bandaged but upright, joins him. "We've got Vaughn's location," she says. "Her penthouse in Manhattan. But Whitaker's stalling the warrant. He's claiming national security." Mike's fists clench. "Whitaker's in her pocket." Martinez nods, her eyes hard. "We go rogue, we lose everything, badges, careers, maybe our lives." Mike meets her gaze. "I lost my brother to these people. I'm not stopping." Martinez sighs, then hands him a burner phone. "Torres and I will cover you. Get Vaughn. End this." Mike takes Kayla to a medic, promising to return. Shadow's stable, sedated for transport to a vet. Mike kisses the dog's forehead, whispering, "You did good, boy. Rest now." With the broker's phone and the flash drive, he boards an FBI chopper back to Manhattan. The city sparkles below, a facade of beauty hiding its rot. Vaughn's penthouse, on the 60th floor of a midtown skyscraper, is his last stand. It's 3 a.m. when Mike reaches the penthouse. The building's security is next-gen funded, but Martinez's team hacks the cameras, giving him a window. He slips in through a service entrance, his Glock ready, the broker's phone in his pocket. The penthouse is a palace of glass and marble, its silence deafening. Mike moves through the dark, guided by the faint glow of a corner office. Dr. Catherine Vaughn sits at a mahogany desk, her silver hair pulled tight, her eyes scanning a tablet. She doesn't flinch as Mike steps in, his gun raised. "You knew I'd come," he says, voice low. Vaughn smiles, cold and calculated. "Officer Sullivan, you're as stubborn as your brother." Mike's heart lurches. "Don't say his name." Vaughn leans back unfazed. "Thomas was a tragedy, but his liver saved a senator's son. A fair trade, don't you think?" Mike's finger tightens on the trigger, rage blinding him. "You're a monster!" Vaughn laughs, soft and cruel. "I'm a realist. The world needs organs, healthy young organs, orphans, runaways, illegals. No one misses them. We give them purpose." She gestures to the city beyond the glass. "This city, this country runs on sacrifices like theirs." Mike steps closer, his voice shaking. "I've got your files. Orion, the broker, everything. You're done." Vaughn's smile fades. "You think exposing me stops this? My clients, senators, CEOs, generals, they'll bury you. Whitaker's just the start." She reaches for her tablet, but Mike shoots it, sparks flying. "No more games," he says. "Unlock the broker's phone. Now." Vaughn hesitates, then types a code into the phone. The broker ID file opens a list of clients, dates, payments, names Mike recognizes, politicians, tycoons, even a judge.